Hello YouTube friends, I am back with another video about student teaching, and I thought I'd share with you guys my student teaching experience. So before I actually get into the student teaching part, I wanted to talk about how the program at my school actually went, because I know each school can be a little bit different, not only throughout the country, but throughout the different states as well, and even within like different colleges too. So at my university, the 2 blocks that you take come right before your student teaching. Sometimes people will take a break between blocks in student teaching, but usually it goes block 1, block 2, student teaching. So in block 1, we had 3 subjects that we focused on. It was math, science, and reading. So we had our classes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we'd go into the schools every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for half of the semester. So for the first half, you'd go to your classes. So Monday would be math, Wednesday would be science, and Friday would be reading. I don't know if it was exactly how like that, but it was similar to that. And during that time, you wrote 2 lesson plans per each class. So towards the beginning of the semester, this was my junior year, the second semester, so spring semester, you went to visit the school in your classroom for 3 days, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, early on in the semester, to get to know your teacher and your class and try to figure out what you were going to teach during that time. And then after that week, you would go back to your university and you take your classes, you learn how to properly teach them, and then while you're learning how to teach them, you write these lesson plans. So then you kind of do the same for block 2. You go visit your school for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you go back to your university setting at your school and you write your lesson plans. But this time it was for social studies, language arts, and developmental reading. And in this block 2, social studies and language arts were actually a themed unit. So you had to start from writing, or you had to start from figuring out your assessments and kind of figure out what you were going to do before you actually wrote the lesson plans, which I think was way more helpful than block 1, where you just kind of wrote random, not connected at all lesson plans. Block 1 I loved. It was a 1st and 2nd grade classroom, which was what I was really used to, and the teacher there was amazing. She played the piano every single morning for the kids during their like morning meeting and stuff, and it was just really amazing and fun to hear that every single morning. She was just really great, and we had a really great connection, and I really enjoyed being there. Block 2, however, wasn't as great. It was a 5th grade classroom. In block 2, they tend to have you try to do a more urban school, which is not quite what I'm used to. I'm used to more of the suburban schools, which is fine. Like, everybody has their preference, and I don't know if it was hard because it was the urban school or because it was 5th grade and I just wasn't used to that. I'm not really sure, and the teacher and I didn't really have a great connection either. I didn't agree with her classroom management style, and that is kind of what she wanted me to try to implement in the classroom, and it just really didn't work for me because she'd have a timeout chair, but it really didn't serve any purpose. The kids would still goof off there, and overall it just wasn't a great experience. Again, maybe not because it was an urban school, maybe because it was 5th grade, I'm not really sure, but it just wasn't, overall it just wasn't a very great experience, which is kind of a bummer for me because I know some people had a really, really great experience, but I'm really happy I had it too, because I was able to really learn how to deal with these different kinds of situations and learn kind of what I didn't want to do. But she also had great things that I learned that I did want to do, so it was really helpful in that way. So then developmental reading was actually still half the semester, and you spent time learning about how kids learn to read and how they get through those different developmental milestones so that you could prepare for the FORT test, which is what you have to take in Wisconsin for showing that you know how to help kids read, basically. During block 2, you had to create a photo essay, which meant you had to take pictures during all of your lesson plans. Why do you planned that lesson to be that way? How it worked out through your pictures, and then a reflection afterwards. And then for developmental reading, you have to do different reading assessments with a focus student, and then take that information and say how you would help that student later on, which was a really great way to start thinking about that for students, because I think it's really helpful that I was able to develop those skills to say, okay, this student is struggling with this. Here's a different assessment that I can use to help make sure that I understand exactly where they're at, and then how can I help them. So then my student teaching experience began. I met my cooperating teacher actually a year before I started student teaching, because I knew I wanted to have a student teacher, or I knew I wanted to have a teacher request me to be in their classroom. I know most of my peers ended up having a random placement in close to their hometown or something like that. But I ended up not doing that. I knew I wanted to be with this teacher. She was actually a family friend of my boyfriend's family, so it was really great to have that connection. And I was able to meet her a year before, and then I got to meet her a few days before I actually started my student teaching to kind of get that out of the way. And on my first official day, I was just able to jump right in and start doing things. So right away, my cooperating teacher knew exactly how our program was run. She'd had student teachers in her classroom before, which I found to be really, really helpful. And just knowing her ahead of time was really helpful. Personally, I would advocate for having someone request you, but I'm sure the other people who had a random placement would advocate for that. But for me, it just worked out really well, and we had a great connection. So my cooperating teacher, like I said, had everything already kind of planned out. She had a whole binder for me ready on my first official day, and it actually outlined all of the weeks that I was going to be there. We are supposed to be there for 18 weeks. She outlined the 18 weeks I was going to be there and told me which subjects or which things I was going to be taking over. So the first week, it was just observation and walking the kids to their specials, and then it was math and science and all of those. And then it came to full-time teaching, and then slowly she would take them back. And during that time, it wasn't just like, oh, I completely lose control of it. You're also going to be co-teaching with me. So I was able to co-teach with her, and then slowly take it over and have it be my own, which is really, really cool. During our student teaching, we also had to teach 4 observed lessons by our supervisor from the university. And my university supervisor wanted us to do different types of lessons so she could see how we would teach throughout the day. So I did 2 math lessons, a science, and a social studies. And it was really nice because my cooperating teacher never actually asked me to write out full-on lesson plans. We would both just get out our lesson planning books. She would kind of tell me, okay, this is my idea for this week, and we would both write it down and talk about the different lessons that we were going to be teaching that week. And it was really nice that I didn't have to do that additional work, and I was able to know what the plan was for the week, which was really, really nice. It was really nice too because my cooperating teacher was really open to any ideas that I had. I would ask her like, hey, what do you think about trying this? Or what do you think about doing this activity outside? And she was like, oh my gosh, let's go for it. Let's try it out. And it was really a great experience. There was a couple times that I got to bring the kids outside. I did a random, we did an Earth Day thing. I think I talked about it actually in my tips video. We did a random Earth Day activity, and it was just really a great experience overall. She was an amazing cooperating teacher, and she was just there for me every step of the way. It was really, really nice, especially in lesson planning for my university supervisor. Oh, with my university supervisor, we were also required to write a weekly journal entry and send it to our supervisor. So it was just things like, what kind of teaching methods did you use this week? What goals did you set? What went well? What didn't? What did your day-by-day experiences look like? And that was really nice to have me reflect on it. Of course, there were some times that I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get this done with everything else I have to do? But I got it done every single week, and it was fine. And it was really nice just to look back and be like, okay, what did I do this week? How did I help the kids? Wow, I really did help them in this way, or I introduced this new fun activity, and it was cool to reflect on that and share it with my supervisor as well. And then in the middle of my experience, we have to do the EdTPA. So part of the student teaching was that we had to go back to our university about every 2 weeks for a Wednesday night, and it would be from about 5, or it was from like about 3:30 to 5:30, or 3 to 5:30 or something like that. And it was just our chance to mostly talk about EdTPA and how to really help us along. Things like, you know, make sure you start filming early and things like that. And it was a really good time to talk to my friends who were also teachers and talk to them about their student teaching experiences, because we really didn't get the chance to talk throughout the week. We were just all so busy and it's hard to get together. So it was a really nice chance to get together with them and just share all the crazy fun things that we were up to in our classrooms. And then during that time, we also went over things like the laws and rules behind teaching and other little things that are important for us to know. But the EdTPA was very stressful for me. For some reason, I had thought it was going to be a little bit easier, whatever, I don't know why. And it ended up really stressing me out. And I was really sad because it happened right during my full-time teaching. And my cooperating teacher said that she would try to leave the classroom as often as she could, just so that I could have a realistic experience of timing everything out and making sure we got to specials and having everything planned correctly. And if they weren't planned, it was my job to take care of it, and the classroom management was up to me. And it was really cool to have that, but it stunk that it happened right during my EdTPA. So like half of my full-time teaching, I was just really stressed out about EdTPA. And then the other half, I was stressed about what I did wrong on my EdTPA and like if I even did anything right and if I was gonna pass. So overall, it kind of ruined my full-time teaching experience just because I was so worried about getting it done. And it's a requirement in order to graduate, and it was just kind of miserable. I should have tried to do things more spread out, but I taught my lesson a while back, and then it was just slowly working on it, and then it was like at the end it was like, I gotta rush through everything. So it was really stressful, and I'll probably share more about that in another video with you guys. But yeah, it was really stressful and kind of ruined my experience just a little bit, but it happened right in the middle. So then the rest of the time I was just kind of able to relax and enjoy my experience. And then we finished off the year and it was great. Towards the end of the year, after I had done my observed lessons and my EdTPA and all these things, I was just kind of able to relax towards the end of the year. I still taught the subjects I was supposed to teach, but it was more relaxed. Like I said, I didn't have to write out any lesson plans for my cooperating teacher, so a lot of it was just kind of coming in, looking over the math curriculum or whatever for that day, and then just going in and teaching it, which was really nice. But towards the end, I was really working on my portfolio and applying to jobs, and my cooperating teacher was really helpful in both of those. She took pictures for me, and she was really good at giving me advice on like, oh, make sure you're applying to jobs and keep going and doing all that kind of stuff. So she was really helpful along the way. Again, I don't know, I'm an advocate for if you are able to know a teacher and use and have them request you to be in their classroom, you're gonna build a really good connection, and I think it can just be a really great experience. But it was funny too, because I just met up with my cooperating teacher today, and we just got together to talk about if I had any job leads and what was going on in my life and things like that. So it was really fun to see her. I just wanted to show you guys what my bags looked like. So this was my lunch bag. I just used this little one that I got at Target, and it's kind of nice because it has this little space for putting like an ice pack or something. And then it's pretty big, so it has lots of space. I still have some little treats and stuff in there from my student teaching experience, but it was really nice. And they had a fridge and a microwave down in the in the second grade class area that I was in. So it was really nice because I could put anything in the fridge that I wanted. And then if I didn't want to go up to the teacher's lounge, which was on the second floor because I was on the first floor, then I could just throw it in the microwave in the class next to me, and it was really nice. And then this is my teaching bag. I believe I got this for Christmas one year from, or Christmas or my birthday from my boyfriend's mom, which is so sweet. And it has this cute M on it, and it's just been really durable. Like, these are really good. This is a 31 bag. And yeah, it was just really nice. And I actually noticed that inside I have a book from my class, and it says, what's it say? Best wishes, Miss Riley. And it's actually really sweet. It has a penguin on it because I love penguins. And it's really sweet because it just has like many pictures of my kids, and they all wrote something really sweet to me, and it has all their pictures, and yeah, it was just really, really cute, and I'm so happy. And then I also noticed I had my little gift to, well, the piece of paper for the gift. So I gave the kids all bubbles for their for the end of the year gift from me, and I just included it with this. So it says, "You blew me away this year," and has a little owl with some bubbles, and I just thought it was really cute, and I just gave them a little thing of bubbles to go with it. But yeah, that was my experience. Overall, it was really great. Of course, really stressful during EdTPA, but if you're able to get it done or work on it slowly like every single day, then you're gonna be much better off than I was. But overall, again, it was just a really great experience, and I made some really good connections with the principal and my cooperating teacher and some of the other teachers in there as well. And overall, it was just really nice to have an experience like this. Although it is hilarious to me because at the beginning of the year, my cooperating teacher was like, "Oh yeah, well, you know, eventually you'll be staying until 5 or 5:30, and you might be a little bit more stressed out," and all this stuff. And I was like, this lady is crazy. Like, what is she talking about? Because I was leaving like pretty shortly after the kids were leaving, and I was like totally stress-free, and it was great at the beginning. And then yeah, at the end it was really stressful, or in the middle it was really stressful, and I was staying until 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and then eventually it got past that point, and then I was like, okay, now I'm back to leaving early, and yeah, it was really great. My school actually started because I did my block 2 in the fall semester. I did student teaching in the spring semester, and we actually had to start earlier than most of the university students. We started about, well, because we have a J term, which means you have a good chunk of December off, and then you have most of January off as well. And we had to go in for student teaching around the middle of January, and then it went all the way past graduation. We graduated on May 13th, and I had to go until May 31st, but it was all dependent on your school. If your school ended on May 13th, whatever, well, that was a weekend, but if your school's last day was May 12th, then you would have ended on May 12th, but mine ended on May 31st, so I had to be there until May 31st. Other peers of mine had to go until June 2nd or June 8th, but some of them also started after me too, so it just depended on your school. But the main purpose of that was that you could see the entire year. I never actually got to see the beginning of the year, so it was really nice that I got to see the end of the year and say goodbye to all the kids and just do all those fun things to celebrate the end, since I hadn't got to do that during block 1 or block 2. And it was just really great and helped end the whole year and student teaching and just my whole college experience all in one, and it was really, really nice. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it at all helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your guys' support, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you all so much for watching until the very end. I really appreciate all of your support. If you'd like to check out any of my past videos, please click the 2 video links below. And if you'd like updates on new videos, please subscribe above. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate your guys' support. You guys are amazing. Thank you.